Another Sunday, another rough week for the New York Jets. They were blasted at home by the New England Patriots 42 to 10. We're going to talk some Jets football, or at least try to talk about it. I'm going to do it with a host from WFAN, my man EJ Stewart, who joins me now. EJ, what's going on, man? How you doing?
How am I doing? Complicated. Very, very disappointed in the Jets' effort, but very happy with the draft positioning they are in. So mixed bag. I don't like seeing the Patriots run up the score in the Jets, but at the end of the day, it's tank season, baby.
Okay, mixed bag. And you used the word effort, which we're going to get to here about this team, because that word's been used a lot about this team. So, look, the Jets, they were destroyed in this one, EJ. They did not pick up a first down until the second quarter when they were already down 21 zip. Now, some of you guys know you play Madden, you're down 21 zip. You might want to turn the game off. I'm not saying you should quit, but I understand why you feel that way. We've heard head coach Aaron Glenn use the word effort numerous times this season, EJ. Did the Jets show any effort today, or was it already 1-2-3 Cancun around gangrene and they've given up on the season?
It's really tough to say, to be honest, because the effort certainly didn't look like a team that was still fighting until the end and trying to show that they definitely believe in this head coach. But I also got to be real. This Jet roster, particularly defensively, is just malfunctional. It is not a team that to me is NFL caliber. And you're seeing that now week to week. You're seeing whether it's the Jaguars, whether it's the Patriots, whenever they face some of these top NFL teams, they can pretty much write in the number. So some of it, yeah, I guess you could say some of it is bad effort, but I also think there are a lot of bad players on this team, which is by design. The Jets have been very clear when they made that trade with trading Sauce Gardner, when they traded Quinnen Williams. This was all about working towards next season. This was not about winning games this year. So you're seeing a lot of guys out there that, quite frankly, maybe seeing some of their first and last real action in NFL games.
Yeah, that could be the case. And you're right. Not a lot of talent there right now on the defensive side of the ball. Now, look, this was a game. We just talked about the final score, 42 to 10, EJ. But when you looked at this game, especially how dominant the Patriots were early on in that first half, they looked like they could put up 70 plus points in this one. So when you look at this loss and where this Jet season has been, is this rock bottom for the Jets in 2025?
Yeah, for a while I thought this might end up being a 50-point loss, and I didn't think that was going to be hyperbole. This looked like this could have got extremely ugly for the Patriots. I think kind of just took their foot completely off the gas. Rock bottom? No, I think rock bottom was starting, what were they, 0-9 or 0-8, whatever they were to start the season. I mean, that to me was rock bottom. And the way I looked at this season, the evaluation of this team really ended when those trades happened midseason, when you get rid of two of your best defensive players. The Jets had an opportunity to make this a season with some better moments, make this a season that showed a level of competitiveness the fans can be proud of. They wasted that when they essentially went 2 months without a win. So I don't look at this necessarily as rock bottom. I think a lot of Jets fans didn't actually watch this game or pay attention at all. So I don't see this as rock bottom. It's just another disappointing effort in what has been an absolutely miserable season. But no, rock bottom was starting the season basically 0 for several months.
Yeah, hard to get worse than the offer that you saw there, even though, things I guess can always get worse. Now, EJ, another thing I think that was part of this, well, I'll call it rock bottom of the week because you said it's not rock bottom. We'll use the word debacle that you just
Yeah.
used. Debacle of a week this week was before the game on Sunday. The Jets decided to not allow Ashley Castanillo Gervasi to compete in their kick for cash field goal contest, only to change their mind after they were publicly shamed for not letting her do it because she was a high school soccer coach and former soccer player. Were you disappointed in the Jets' handling of that? I would assume so. And then also, were you disappointed that today she did get to kick, but she did not make the kick? Because I was disappointed. I wanted her to make this kick. I wanted a win for her when the Jets couldn't get a W. So, how did you feel about this whole thing?
Yeah, as a quote Jared Allen, I guess the lights were too bright for Ashley. But to be honest, I blame the Jets. I think that they iced the kicker or iced the high
Mm.
school coach in this sense because I think that none of this nonsense would have happened. She probably would have went up there and made the field goal and all this would have been put to bed. But no, this was truly an embarrassing moment for the New York Jets. It's bad enough that you've had fans have to go out there and trek to these games in bad weather, watch horrendous football. Here you have someone who is a longtime Jets fan. Their family has been part of this organization in terms of going to games since they were playing back in Chase Stadium. And to throw her through this ringer and create a negative headline literally out of nowhere, once again speaks to just how dysfunctional this entire organization is. It seems like they can't actually do anything right when it comes to stuff on the field, when it comes to stuff off the field. I mean, this is literally a promotions event, something created by the PR department to either be a nothing burger or create a good story. And somehow they made this a bad story. I think it speaks to just how much just mismanagement you have at the top, and it leads right up to Woody Johnson. And if you're gonna have any concerns about the Jets and say, why does this story about a halftime kicking contest matter? It matters because Woody Johnson's incompetence seems to have its tentacles all throughout every facet of the organization, and this ridiculous halftime kicking contest fiasco is just another part of that situation.
I 100% agree with you on that this is just another part of it, EJ. And I think it's fair, the question. So I'm going to toss this question back to you because I think you're spot on with this about the dysfunction organizationally. And shows in their
Yeah.
mishandling, shall I say, of this. But if you see this as a fan, and you watch what happened this week, before we even get to what happened on the field against the Patriots, why should you have any hope when the Jets, they can mess up a free lunch? They have a free lunch out here to make people happy. You talked about people coming out in the bad weather and all the bad vibes. This is
Yep.
something to try to make the people feel good, and they messed that up. So why, if you're a fan, why should you have any hope?
It's tank season, baby, and you're looking at that NFL draft. That is where your hope lies, and that's all you got. I have nothing else for you. Do I have confidence in the head coach? No. Do I have confidence in the roster? No. But I do have some hope that with this general manager, that you draft a couple of good players. This is draft Mason Taylor, been a great player. Obviously, he hasn't played much this week. Obviously, he's probably not going to play the rest of the year. No Mason Taylor, but Armand Membu, be the only guy with a pulse in this game, and he was furious at halftime about the team getting their behinds kicked. He seems like he's a piece moving forward. So it seems like the general manager seems to have a clue, and they're going to have a lot of draft capital. I think you look at this upcoming NFL draft with the Jets and say, hey, this could be our opportunity as long as the owner or someone else or his kids don't come in and screw it up, that we could actually turn this team around. Now, will they step into a bunch of other rakes or slip on a bunch of other banana peels after the NFL draft? That's quite possible, but we got to deal with what's ahead of us. And what's ahead of us, I think, is the Jets in a very advantageous situation. You got four picks in the first two rounds of this year's draft and next year's draft. That's plenty of capital and plenty of assets to potentially make this team a team that actually has some NFL talent, which surprised we're playing in the NFL. But you know what? If you watch that game on Sunday, you would realize Jets are far, far away from competing with the top teams in this league.
Yeah, you definitely saw that on Sunday. Okay, so that's where we're going to end here with the NFL draft. I never thought we'd have mentions of banana peels and rakes when it comes to talking about the Jets, but then you think about it and you're like, no, makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so if you're looking for some hope, as you said, and on the bright side, EJ, I guess the way you can look at this game and what happened on Sunday is, well, the Jets did not mess anything up in terms of having a good draft position. They still ensured themselves that they will have a very high draft pick, but there's been a lot of talk around the Jets because they need a quarterback, and they clearly do, that they should move up for the number one pick. How do you feel about that? Should the Jets move up in this draft for the number one pick? Could be trading with the Giants, depending on what happens in their game against the Raiders, but do you think the
Yeah.
Jets should move up and be aggressive to get the number one pick and select a quarterback?
Yeah, I do not. I think the Jets, first of all, they got a lot of help from the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns finding a way to beat up on Aaron Rodgers of all people. Look at that, talking about the Jet, another Jet, former Jet. I even call him a Jet nemesis for what he did to the team last year. But the Browns winning means the Jets move up to three, and now they're in a position where they should, as long as they lose next week, be guaranteed to at least have a top three pick. And the way I look at this NFL draft, you have Fernando Mendoza, who's expected to go number one, a guy that I don't see as generational. It doesn't seem like a lot of draft experts see as generational. It seems to be the best of what is here right now. So if I'm the Jets and I look at this draft, if you're not able to land the number one pick and you look at your draft coffers, you got all these opportunities to fill out the roster everywhere because you have problems at safety, you have problems at corner, you need at least another one or two wide receivers. I mean, they are a mess in many different spots. The linebacker spot's a mess. They're going to have an opportunity to fill those spots with some high draft picks. I'm using those picks to fill out those players. If it means that I miss out on Fernando Mendoza or I miss out on a Dante Moore, you can live with that because again, you got your draft picks for next year, and that's a draft that's going to have some big time talent. Arch Manning could be in that draft. Dylan Raiola could be in that draft. Lenore Sellers could be in that draft. These are guys that were expected to be top guys this year, and all the weird things happen in college football, and they end up having to come back a year. But you'll be looking at a draft next year that has five first round quarterbacks. That is a possibility next year. So if I'm the Jets, I'm using this opportunity. If the quarterback is not there, don't reach for the wrong one. Fill out the rest of your roster, fill out the other holes that you have in this team, and then next year go get your guy.
All right. EJ, preaching patience. Jets fans been waiting for a quarterback for a long time. I'm not sure everybody's going to have that patience, but I don't disagree with you. You don't want to reach for a quarterback. That can be as bad as just not drafting the quarterback that year and waiting for the right one. But the Jets, they're still looking for the right one, especially after this week's 42-10 loss to
Oof.
the Patriots. Not a good one. EJ has mixed emotions about the Jets right now. I just did that and realized felt like I was talking about 6-7, and I'm not at all whatsoever. That is EJ Stewart. Check him out on WFAN. EJ, I appreciate you always coming on with me this season to talk about the Jets. Have a happy new year, my friend. Appreciate you.
Yes, happy New Year and happy holidays to you and everybody over there. Thank you, man.
Anytime.